this is Just the News. I'm Amita Palachandra. Let's get straight to it. On to our top stories, an update on the Pegasus row. Now, the Supreme Court on Thursday said that it is planning to set up a committee of technical experts to look into allegations of unauthorized surveillance using the Pegasus software. Orders will be pronounced next week. Now, the Chief Justice said, and I quote, "We wanted to pass an order on the matter before this week, but some members we thought of considering for the expert committee. For personal reasons, they declined to be part of this committee, hence the delay," end quote. Now, the Chief Justice of India also added that the court will be able to finalize the members by next week and then pronounce orders. Now, the government had said that it would form the committee and that it would report to the Supreme Court earlier. This was after strong remarks over the refusal to file a detailed affidavit citing national security. Now, to give you a bit of a context about this Pegasus row, the pleas seeking an independent probe are related to reports of alleged snooping by government agencies on eminent citizens, politicians, by using Israeli firm NSO Group and their spyware Pegasus. Also in the news, the Union government and the PMO have now told Delhi High Court that the PM Cares Fund can neither be brought under the ambit of the RTI as a public authority and nor can be listed as a state matter. Now, this is according to a report by the Hindustan Times. Now, according to the Indian Express, on the other hand, the centre has also added that the trust fund is not a government fund and that the amount does not go into Consolidated Fund of India. Now, the submission was made in response to a petition that is seeking that PM Cares Fund be declared as the state under Article 12 of the Constitution. One of the pleas by lawyer Samyak Gangwal also sought to declare the PM Cares Fund a state under the Constitution to ensure transparency in its functioning, and his other petition has sought that PM Cares be brought under RTI as a public authority. Moving on now to an update in the Jharkhand district judge death case. Now, the CBI has told Jharkhand's High Court that this district judge who was killed in July after being run over by an auto rickshaw was in fact intentionally hit. And this is a report by NDTV, which is quoting agencies that is reporting that reconstructions of the crime scene, examination of CCTV footage, including a 3D analysis and forensic evidence, all of which suggest to Judge Uttamanand's saying that he was deliberately killed. Now, according to this report, the probe is in its final stages. 2 accused have so far been arrested. Judge Anand was killed on the 28th of July after an auto rickshaw rammed into him. Some locals, in fact, found him lying in a pool of blood and took him to the hospital as well, where doctors then declared him dead on arrival. Now, before we move on to our next story, here's a trigger warning. The next story is triggering for a lot of people. And if you want to stop watching this broadcast, please do so now. A 15-year-old girl was allegedly gang raped by 24 people, including 2 minors in different places in Maharashtra's Thane district over the past 8 months. Now, according to the police, a case of gang rape has been lodged on the girl's complaint, and 22 accused have so far been arrested. 2 minors have also been detained in connection with this case. All the accused persons are aged between 16 and 23. Now, the girl was allegedly raped in January by one of her minor friends, who then recorded the act on his mobile phone and began blackmailing her. Later, his friends raped her on multiple occasions in different locations like Dombivli and Rabali. Moving on to news related to COVID right now, India has reported 31,923 new COVID cases and 282 deaths in the last 24 hours, out of which Kerala has logged 19,682 new COVID cases in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, Dr. B.K. Paul of Niti Aayog has announced in a press conference that differently abled people and those with restricted mobility will in fact be given COVID vaccine doses at their homes. Now, this was a much awaited move and should have been done earlier, but it has been implemented now. Over 15% of the entire population in India currently is fully vaccinated. Also in the news, Dr. N.K. Arora of National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization said that India is not considering any decision to lower the gap between 2 doses of Covishield. Currently, the gap is 84 days between the 2 doses of Covishield. Now, Dr. Arora said, and I quote, "These reports about the center likely to reduce the gap for Covishield administration in the private vaccination centers are not correct. There cannot be different rules for different categories of people. That would be discriminatory, and science does not work like that. In case of modifications for students needing to travel for studies and other people taking international travel, there was a compelling reason to modify the guidelines." End quote. On to news from the world of business right now. The benchmark equity indices on the BSE and the NSE climbed over 1.5% higher to settle at fresh all-time highs on Thursday. This was led by buying across sectors in heavyweight stocks such as Reliance Industries and the HDFC twins comprising of HDFC Bank and Housing Development Finance Corporation. Now, the Nifty 50 climbed 276.3 points to end at an all-time high of 17,822.95. Also in the news, in an interview with PTI, Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Hardeep Singh Puri, has said that petrol prices in the country are not coming down as the states do not want to bring fuel under the ambit of the GST. Now, this comes after petrol price, remember, has crossed the 100 rupee mark in West Bengal. In Kolkata, it is 101.62 rupees per litre. Mr. Puri said, and I quote, "If your question is, do you want petrol prices to come down? Then the answer is yes. Now, if your question is why the petrol prices are not coming down, then the answer is because the states don't want to bring it under the GST. Now, the center charges rupees 32 per litre as taxes on petrol. We charged rupees 32 per litre when the fuel price was $19 per barrel. And we're still charging the same even when the price rose to $75 per barrel. With this 32 rupees per litre, we provide free ration, free housing, and Ujjwala, among several other schemes to the people." On to news from across the world right now. The US has authorized a booster dose of the Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccine for high-risk adults, those aged 65 and above, and others who are regularly exposed to the virus. Now, the third shot will be administered at least 6 months after the second dose. This comes after an independent expert panel recommended this move. In the meantime, the WHO has called for a moratorium on developing countries giving out booster shots, whereas several other underdeveloped countries in Africa have just started their vaccination campaign. Also in the news, the WHO has warned that air pollution is even more dangerous than previously thought. In the first update for 16 years, the guideline limit for the most damaging pollution, which is tiny particles from burning fossil fuels, has been halved. The new limit for nitrogen dioxide, mainly produced by diesel engines, is now 75% lower. Now, the WHO went on to say that air pollution kills at least 7 million people a year, and a recent study estimated 8.7 million early deaths a year from coal, oil, and gas burning, which is 20% of all deaths. Also, news now from the world of science and technology. NASA is sending a robotic rover, Volatiles Investigating Polar Exploration Rover, which is also called as Viper, to look for water and other resources near a crater at the moon's south pole. Now, Viper will be launched aboard SpaceX Falcon Heavy rocket in 2023 as part of NASA's Artemis program. Now, this rover will land near the western edge of the Noble crater, a 73-kilometer wide depression that is almost permanently in shadow. In fact, in a press release, NASA has said that no prior missions to the moon's surface have exploded, and that scientists have thus far only studied the region using remote sensing instruments. That's it here on Just the News. Thank you so much for watching.